So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K25 Next Gen. In today's video, we are back with another episode of our LeBron Era rebuild series, and today it's going to be the Houston Rockets. This Rockets team was certainly nothing to call home about. There is some established talent on this team, there is some young talent on this team, but ultimately, they are really nowhere near contention. Now, this was a group that won 43 games throughout the regular season, and it was certainly an interesting one to say the least, as this was Yao Ming's final NBA season. He played only 5 games, and his career was simply over. Truly kind of a big what if in the history of basketball. So my goal today is to obviously get this team into contention. I don't know if we'll be pulling off a James Harden trade as the actual Houston Rockets did just a few seasons later, but I do think there's some moves out there today that can hopefully help us win a championship. Now let me know any other video ideas down below in the comment section. Of course, slowly but surely making our way through these LeBron era rebuilds. I believe we only have about 10 of these left, so if there's any teams I have not done yet that you really want to see, let me hear it down below in the comment section, of course, with any other video ideas you guys may have. But excited for this one today. There are definitely some pieces here that excite me, and there are some that certainly are going to need to go. So let's get into it. Now back here in the year 2010, let's go ahead and get into a quick breakdown on this Rockets roster. Of course, we may have a few moves before we kick off year one to kind of set us up for some long-term success. But let's talk about what we are currently working with at hand here today. So starting out the point guard spot, we have a 24-year-old Kyle Lowry. Sometimes I even forget that Kyle Lowry was a Houston Rocket at some point. He was also a Memphis Grizzly. God, I really just forget that. But you know, he obviously at this point in time still has some room to grow. Whether or not he's going to be my starting point guard for all 3 years is certainly going to be up in the air, but we'll go on a year-to-year basis with him, and if his development goes well, I do think he'd be a pretty solid option. Behind him, we have a 25-year-old Aaron Brooks. I think this is a fine, kind of serviceable backup point guard here. I'm not sure what sort of money he's going to be asking for come off-season time, but overall, solid. Age is good. I'll live with it. And then finally, a 22-year-old Ish Smith. So, you know, 3 decent NBA point guards, you know, on this roster. Kyle Lowry ended up being a star. Brooks and Smith certainly didn't, but this is some pretty good depth here for year one. Now over to the shooting guard spot. Kevin Martin was really good this season. He led this team in scoring. He is a player I have traded for in these rebuilds before. He's currently kind of entering, if not in the middle of his prime at 27 years old, and he's an 84 overall. Pretty good contract. I don't really think the shooting guard spot's going to be too big of an issue for us here today. Behind him, we have a 25-year-old Courtney Lee. That's not, you know, real Courtney Lee created by 2K. That's a user-created Courtney Lee. So I'll be very interested to see not only how his progression goes, but also some of the numbers he does put up. I'm not going to pretend I know who Jermaine Taylor is. Appears to be a real person, but I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you fine people. The small forward spot was Shane Battier. He's 32 at this point. It's likely a spot we will upgrade maybe immediately, maybe after year one. But again, 32 years of age. We're not contending. He's on an expiring contract. I think the writing's kind of all on the wall there. A 22-year-old Chase Budinger. Oh boy, he's a 75 overall. Is that maybe a little generous? I don't know. But he's here. If his development goes well, maybe he stays in the rotation. I don't know. The power forward spot. Luis Scola was really, really good for this Rockets team this season. So, you know, he's an 83 right now, and although he is 30 years old, he's on a long-term contract, and if he doesn't have some sort of crazy regression or play really poorly, there's a possibility he's here all 3 years. Behind him, we have Jordan Hill, not a name I've heard in a minute. We have Jared Jeffries, and finally a 21-year-old Patrick Patterson. So, you know, I don't hate the depth at this backup power forward spot. You know, ultimately, we only are going to need 2 of these guys at some point, so a decision will have to be made there. And then finally, the center position, which may actually be the most interesting one out of all 5 spots on the floor. Because as I mentioned, Yao Ming played 5 games. 5 games this season, got hurt, and never played in the NBA again. It's sad. It's kind of a crazy what if in some ways, but here in this world, in, you know, the fake 2K world, Yao Ming is not going to get hurt, and I've seen how his kind of, you know, regression goes, and it's not really anything super crazy. So, you know, if there's the trade that pops up and it's the right deal for us, I'm certainly going to take it, but if not, I'm not just going to dump Yao Ming here in this, you know, fake world. Chuck Hayes, 27, not a bad backup center option, even though he is only 6'6". And finally, Brad Miller, who's 34 and is going to likely retire in, you know, 1 season, 2 seasons. So we'll certainly keep that in mind as he is on a multi-year deal. So, you know, that's the team. Again, they won 43 games. They certainly weren't anything special. Again, we are, you know, somewhat far away. We're about 2 years off from when they actually traded for James Harden in real life. I don't necessarily anticipate a James Harden trade. I think it would certainly be fun, but that's probably not going to happen today. We got to be a little bit more realistic in terms of our acquisition. So we're going to go ahead and make a couple moves right now, set us up for some nice long-term success. We discussed a bit about how if the right trade for Yao Ming came along, I likely would take it. I consider this deal here with the Charlotte Bobcats a good deal. Yao Ming is 30, and as I mentioned, his regression isn't anything crazy. He'll probably be around an 84 for the entirety of this video, but ultimately, we're getting two really solid small forwards here from Charlotte and Gerald Wallace and Steven Jackson. I don't know if they'll both be here for all 3 years, but at worst, one of them is going to be an elite trade piece. And Yao Ming is not only 30, but he is an expiring contract. I don't exactly know what his numbers would look like, but end of the day, we're not really giving up a lot, and I think we are getting a pretty decent return here. So that's going to be our first trade. Again, it is definitely a big one, but I do think it's going to pay off in the long term. After moving off of Yao Ming, we are now in need of a new starting center. Lamar Odom might not be the perfect fit, but he is the best option we currently have. Shane Battier and Ish Smith are going to be sent to the Los Angeles Lakers. Lamar Odom and Derek I don't know. Odom is 6'10". He's 30 years old and is on a multi-year deal. If he can put up like 11 and 10, I would certainly be fine with that. So again, it's not a perfect fit, and it's probably not a 3-year fit, but for one season, I think I'll be able to survive with Lamar Odom as my starting center. So it's going to be him and Chuck Hayes there. There might be one other kind of depth move, but at this point, I don't anticipate anything else too big. Final move before we kick off year one. We're going to be sending Jared Jeffries to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and in return, we're going to be getting Daniel Gibson. Really, the only reason for this deal is because Gibson is on a multi-year deal, and he is 24 years of age. Now, I don't necessarily anticipate him getting minutes here in year one, but he's also a good insurance policy if we do lose a backup point guard this offseason. So Daniel Gibson, welcome to the team. Again, at this point, I still anticipate playing Aaron Brooks over him, but he's 1 overall higher, 1 year older. Aaron Brooks is also expiring. So that's going to be it for kind of moves here heading into year number one. Again, we have a decent amount of kind of long-term contracts locked in. And again, there are certainly some players here that deserve playing time that are not going to get it, but I'm pretty content with this team heading into year one. Start of the first season in Houston. I have established the starting 5 the way I think it is going to work best. Kyle Lowry, Kevin Martin, Gerald Wallace, Luis Scola, and Lamar Odom will be the 1 through 5. Bench unit will be led by Steven Jackson. Year 1, 83 overall, 6 men is typically a pretty good sign. For these rebuilds, you got Chuck Hayes here is going to be my backup center. Aaron Brooks, obviously the backup 1 guard. And finally, Courtney Lee and Jordan Hill rounding out this rotation. So, again, we do have elite depth just because guys like Daniel Gibson, who's a 76 overall, Chase Budinger, who's a 75, they're not even in this rotation. So that's something we'll certainly address come offseason number 1. But as of now, I do think at worst we could end up being maybe, 7, 8 seed, something like that. So see you guys at the end of the first season here in Houston. I'm not going to lie, we had a better first season than I anticipated. 52-30 is the final record. I'm assuming that's going to be better than, a 7 or 8 seed here in the Western Conference, and we'll find out together. Maybe a little bit of a playoff push coming. Russell Westbrook, he's going to be your MVP. Blake Griffin, Rookie of the Year in Los Angeles. You got Manu coming off the bench. Andrew Bogut. Kyle Lowry. All right, man. Really good season out of him. 15 points, 4 boards, about 9.5 assists a game. Shooting splits were not bad whatsoever. I'll take it. And 63 wins is going to give Phil Jackson Coach of the Year with the Lakers. So we are the 3 seed here, which is really good news for us. We're going to have a young Steph Curry and a Golden State Warriors team in round 1. But here's a look at the full standings. And then here is a look at the Eastern Conference. So I always find this funny because, obviously the records here are just a bit different, but obviously the divisions play a matter in the fact in that. I can't fucking speak today. Kevin Martin, Luis Scola, you got Kyle Lowry, so 3 guys at 15 plus points a game. Lamar Odom, I asked for what, 11 and 10. He gave me 12 and 8.5. That's fine. Steven Jackson, Gerald Wallace, pretty similar in the points per game department. Wallace, of course, did a few other things though. Aaron Brooks, Courtney Lee, Chuck Hayes, and then Jordan Hill. Rebounding department, we were led by Scola, and assists is going to be Lowry. So round 1, as I mentioned, it is a young Steph Curry and a young Golden State team. You got Monte Ellis, Darrell Wright, David Lee, Epke Udoh, Reggie Williams, Hakeem Warwick. I don't know if we're, that much better than them, but we're going to find out. Well, we're up 3-0, so I guess we are. And we sweep the Golden State Warriors. The Denver Nuggets are definitely better than us. Not going to deny that. Chauncey Billups, J.R. Smith, you got Melo here. He's clearly going to be the best player in this series. Nene, Chris Birdman Anderson. Is his last name spelled wrong, or is it actually spelled like that? Ty Lawson, Kenyon Martin. All right, let's see what happens here in the Western Conference semifinals. We actually win the first 2 on the road. They take game 3 on our home floor. They take game 4. They've won 3 straight games. They win 4 straight games and close us out. Disappointing, man. We go on the road for the first 2 games, steal 2, completely take home court advantage, and then the Denver Nuggets, who were, again, the better team, end up winning 4 straight. So just curious. We'll take a look at the numbers here from the second round. Not a great series for Gerald Wallace. Tough series for Luis Scola. Brooks was tough. All right, man. Second round exit kind of felt like our ceiling, in so many ways. I thought, 8 seed or 7 seed was kind of our ceiling, but I'll live with it for year one. End of the day, we were never going to beat this Oklahoma City team or that Bulls team, so I'm fine with it. Offseason number 1. Any retirements here for our Rockets? I don't think so, so let's just get into the offseason. Shaquille O'Neal going to be entering the Hall of Fame. Same with, I don't know, Ben Wallace wasn't a Hall of Famer. Okay. Draft lottery time. I do not believe we'll have any sort of lottery pick here, so we'll just sim through this. We had a swap with the New York Knicks, and we actually got the better pick out of the two, so we're at 17. They have our pick at number 26. Totally cool with me. All right. Rick Alleman was actually the head coach of this team at the time, and although I do think we kind of hit our ceiling in terms of maximum potential with our team, I'm not going to wait around for Rick Alleman's ratings to get better. I mean, that's just, if he had like 2 stars at offense and defense, I might even be able to live with that after the year we just had. But, 1 star in both departments that really matter, I can't work with that. So I don't love firing a coach after a year like that, but I didn't really have any other choice. I don't want to get Stauffer, so please, anybody but Stauffer. I'm offering the 3 best head coaches here deals, and I can get non-Nelson, which is totally cool with me. All right, it is the 2011 NBA draft. It is a loaded one at that. We are picking at 17 or something like that. We're not going to be getting likely anybody from Jimmy Butler or higher. Unless we somehow swing some sort of trade. I don't know. Chuck Hayes is apparently pissed and he's displeased according to his relations. He's not willing to re-sign with us. I wouldn't mind in theory trying to trade up, but I just don't know who we would get. Like, I'd have to probably move into the top 6 or 7. Like, who has like the 7th overall pick? Like, what would it cost me? Just because I do try to get players that I don't get, a ton. If I'm picking in like the 2011 draft, typically it's like top 3 or like number 28. So, getting somebody at number 7 could be cool. It's just, we have players that are movable. Unfortunately, a lot of them are just like on team options though. So how can I not find the 7th overall pick? All right, it is the Trailblazers here. Like, anybody from Lamar Odom up, I really wouldn't want to deal. So like Gibson and like the 17th pick. And then how about just some 2nd round picks? I'm not giving up any other first. So if this is not going to go through, then so be it. No. Any other players down here? No, not giving up Jordan Hill in that deal. I think Jordan Hill isn't going to be an important piece of this team. So that's number 7. I saw somebody, whoever had 8. I'll just try that. I'll try 8 and 9. And if either, they can't do it. Who has 9? That's going to be my final attempt. And if it doesn't go through, it doesn't go through. I'll survive with whatever we have to. Okay. 9th overall pick. Probably not going to get one of the star players, unfortunately. But, yeah, as I expected. Tristan Thompson's sitting here. It's not a horrible option. You also got Jonas Valanciunas. I think Valanciunas actually could make some sense for me. And I'm not saying that he's the best player available. You're certainly entitled to your opinion. He may be, but we're going to likely lose our backup center in Chuck Hayes. So Valanciunas, of course, will be more affordable. He's younger and may have significantly better upside as well. So welcome to the team, Mr. Valanciunas, going to come in at a 76 overall. So yes to everybody except for character here. Is that a real person? Can somebody please tell me? Everybody there will be brought back. And then I do think we're going to be in the market to potentially swing a big trade. Free agency here has some nice players. Chuck Hayes is just not even interested in coming back, so we'll probably just let him go. Patterson will get a contract. Then again, we do have a qualifying offer on Aaron Brooks, so we'll be able to match whatever he gets. But unfortunately, we just don't have the cap space, so I do think a major trade is on the horizon. We're going to see if Dallas has any interest in swinging a Lamar Odom for Tyson Chandler swap. Ultimately, Odom was never going to be a long-term piece, and now that he's expiring, I especially would like to move off of him and make an upgrade at our center spot. So I didn't think they were going to take that straight up. We do have a little bit of flexibility in terms of players that we could include in a deal. We also have some draft capital. I wouldn't say we have a lot of draft capital, but that ends up getting it done. So going to be Chandler and Valanciunas as my 2 centers. I'm still pretty comfortable with Luis Scola as my starting power forward. May end up finding an upgrade for Jordan Hill at some point. Is he expiring, actually? Because I may do that now. He is. Okay, I don't have to force the issue technically. Something else to consider is the fact that Gerald Wallace is also an expiring contract. He'll likely decline that player option. I am just curious. Like, if I threw all 3 of these players in here, are there any, like, no, there's really nothing there. It's a problem. It's so weird. Like, I was just glancing over the center options. Like, look at the center options in the league right now. These overalls don't feel completely outrageous for the players that, they're assigned to, but, there's only one 90 overall center, that 90 plus overall center. That's Dwight Howard, who was clearly the best big man in the league at this time. But, Brook Lopez being the 2nd highest rated center in basketball, Were things really this dark back in, 2010, 2011? I was, 10, 11 years old. I don't really know. But nonetheless, we might try to swing one more upgrade. This one might not make a lot of sense on paper because Gerald Wallace at this point in time is 3 overalls higher than Luol Deng, but I'm doing this deal, or at least attempting to do this trade, for a couple different reasons. First and foremost, Deng has 3 years of team control, which I think is always really beneficial in these rebuilds. Second, and more importantly, I know Deng's going to progress, while I think Gerald Wallace may not regress like crazy, but I think Deng will eventually surpass him in the overall department. They want to swap first-round picks, our first-round pick next year for their first-round pick the year after. That's fine by me. I think that's a deal I can live with in a trade. I think will certainly benefit us. So welcome to the team. Luol Deng, he's going to take over as my starting small forward. I could also consider a Steven Jackson trade just given his age. Now, he does have another year on his contract after this upcoming one, but if the right trade does come along, I may be inclined to take it. But other than that, our starting 5 is pretty much complete. I will curiously just kind of look and see what Steven Jackson could get me. I doubt it's going to really be anything that, entirely changes my mind, but I'll consider. Does Gallo have a year, or is he done after this? He's done after this. All right, I'm going to pass on that. Greg Monroe. I actually, in theory, don't hate the idea of adding Drew Holiday. He's another year team control as well. Most Spates is going to be expiring. You know what? Maybe I do this. I don't love giving up the draft pick, but I think I can live with this. Also, didn't I just trade my first? Oh, that's the Knicks pick. Okay, I was going to say, didn't I just trade my first-round pick? All right, we're going to pull this one off just because I think we're going to see progression for Drew Holiday, where I think we would see regression for Jackson. So now we have our 2 point guards, which means Aaron Brooks is likely just going to be gone. We are good pretty much everywhere here. And then Jordan Hill potentially could get me any sort of backup small forward. Yeah, there's not really a lot here in free agency. So let's just consider a Jordan Hill trade. We have no second-round picks, and I'm definitely not going to include a first. So John Salmons, 31. He's locked up long-term. Could be a nice move. DeAndre Jordan's a player I've traded for before. He's a frustrating player to trade for. His morale is always in the toilet. All right, we're getting some okay small forward options here. Certainly no stars or anything like that, but I think I'm going to pull the trigger on the deal here for John Salmons, move him to the small forward spot, and then we're probably all set. He's actually going to go up to a 79 overall here as our backup small forward. So I'm content. We do still have a couple, qualifying offers out there and things like that, but I think other than that, we're pretty much content. So we are going to bring back Patrick Patterson, but I'm going to let Chuck Hayes go. Well, actually, you know what I might do? I might match Aaron Brooks as well if he gets an offer. So he's going to go to the Knicks. It's 3 years, $9 million, or no, it's 2 years, $5 million. I'm matching that. He's probably not going to be in the rotation, which is unfortunate, but at worst, he'll be, extra depth, if not a trade piece next offseason. All right, I will now see you guys at the start of year number 2 here in Houston. We're now ready to go for year 2 here. I am interested to see how this season goes because on paper, we have a decent starting 5, but it's very evident and clear to me that there's no superstars here. We're seeing some regression with Kevin Martin and Luis Scola. Lowry's not developing like crazy. Deng is up to an 85 overall, which is certainly nice to see. But, there's nothing about this team that really jumps out at me and says, oh, we're guaranteed a championship, or we're going to be one of the true elite teams here in the West. Now, am I underselling this group? It's certainly possible, right? We were a 3 seed last year, won 53 games or whatever it was. And I do think we're better than we were a season ago. But, part of me just says, we're not up there with the best of the best here in the West. So we'll find out together, but here's how it's going to look. Kyle Lowry, Kevin Martin, you got Luol Deng, Luis Scola, Tyson Chandler. Bench unit, Drew Holiday going to be taking over as my 6th man. Mo Spates in here, Courtney Lee, Jonas Valanciunas, John Salmons rounding it out. So I'm excited again. Maybe we're, back into top 3 seed. I have no idea, quite honestly. Of course, we have a major upgrade at the head coaching spot as well. So I'll see you guys at the end of year number 2. I guess I really undersold this team because they go 67-15 to wrap up our 2nd season here. I didn't think they had it in them, but good for us. Derrick Rose, MVP. Vucevic, Rookie of the Year. It's a loaded rookie class in Vucevic. Okay. Lamar Odom coming off the bench, our old friend there in Dallas now. Andrew Bogut, Anthony Randolph, Don Nelson, our new head coach, does take home Coach of the Year. So 67 wins will give us the 1 seed here. Pretty damn close. The Warriors, who of course we beat in round 1 last year, they have kind of come on pretty strongly, if you will. But here are the numbers. Luol Deng now up to an 87. That trade's working out beautifully for us. Kevin Martin still doing his thing. Scola not even bad, even with the regression in the overall. Lowry, Holiday, Lee, Spates, Chandler, Valanciunas, and Salmons. Rebounds led by Chandler. Assists led by Lowry. All right, round 1, us and the Los Angeles Clippers. There's a look at their squad. Not bad for an 8 seed. They do steal game 1 and game 2. Oh, boy. Here we go. We are currently down 3-1. Oh, fuck. Okay. We lose in round 1. After 67 wins, we lose in round 1. A really, really disappointing ending to what was overall pretty fun season. Brutal series out of Scola. Need him to be better. I need Chandler to do a little bit more in the scoring department. I don't need 20 and 10, but if you can get me like 12, 14 and 10, I would have taken that. But yeah, man, just came up short against a pretty good Clippers team, and ultimately it's going to cause me to make some pretty decent changes this offseason. Again, I have no problem admitting I was wrong about this team in terms of the regular season, but I think I was pretty clearly right when it came to this team contending for a championship. So it sucks, man. You never want to go out like that, but we still have one offseason to go, and we are certainly going to apply some pressure here and make a move or two. So I don't think we're going to have anything in the lottery. I don't think I traded for anything or something like that. So we're going to skip up to staff signing. Don Nelson, you know, he's kind of the greatest ever. He's not going anywhere. The ratings are perfect, clearly. So we have no first-round picks this year. We are going to hit team player options. Holiday will be brought back. Most Spates will be qualified. And at this point, I'm definitely in the mood and certainly in the market to swing a pretty big blockbuster. Oh, okay. Pulled off a pretty big trade there with the Miami Heat. Made a nice upgrade in this starting five. Scola, Salmons, Patterson, 2 first-round picks, 3 first-round picks, whatever the hell that is, all sent to the Miami Heat, and in return we land ourselves Chris Bosh. Now, I want to emphasize that Scola was not bad for us throughout the majority of his time in this video, but Chris Bosh is just levels ahead. You know, can Chris Bosh be the best player on a championship team? I don't know. Could he be the best player on this championship team? I think it's a possibility. So that's one upgrade in the books. I think I could consider one other upgrade, and I think the obvious spot for that would be one of our backcourt options. Now, Kevin Martin and Kyle Lowry have both been playing pretty well for us, but Kevin Martin might regress a little bit in the overall department heading into the final season. The numbers will likely still be there, but if we can get a higher overall that could put up similar production, I think that could be worth it. So again, I'm not going to, completely just dump Kevin Martin, but if the right trade pops up and I can have the assets to make it happen, I'm definitely going to take it. We're hitting up the Philadelphia 76ers, and we're going to see if we can land Andre Iguodala. Now, I know Iggy's a guy I do get from time to time, and I'll certainly try to lay off from getting him in future videos, at least in the near future. But for now, he is one of the players that I think I could reasonably acquire and would obviously be an upgrade over Kevin Martin. So I'm offering Martin and Brooks up in this deal. I highly doubt they're going to take that. Now, unfortunately, there's not a lot of other players I have that I could include in a deal like this, so I would have to find a way to get this done with just draft picks. And okay, we do get it done. It's clearly a lot to give up for, Andre Iguodala, but he's 28 years old. I think this is a user-created Iggy. He's not actually in 2K this year for God knows what reason, but I think he's going to be pretty good. I love those shooting splits from last year. The points per game is relatively similar, and of course, pretty good rebounder and passer of the ball as well. So, Lowry and Holiday are going to be confirmed. Again, hoping Lowry's overall continues to climb. Of course, now have Iggy here, Luol Deng, Chris Bosh, and then, Chandler and Valanciunas. So we are relatively low in the backup department here. I know I do have a qualifying offer out on most Spates. I think we might lose Courtney Lee for nothing. No, maybe not. Oh, that's nice. Most Spates is qualified, so we just need to sign somebody at the backup small forward spot. Barbosa. Ooh, Jordan Crawford sitting here. He's only 23. It looks like he was actually released. So, yeah, I would do that, and then we'll just kind of wait on most Spates. So, whose overall goes up more? Is it Courtney Lee, who is 6'5", or Crawford, who's also 6'5"? I don't know. I guess I'll just do Crawford. He goes up to a 78. Okay, at this point, we've pretty much solidified this core entering the third and final season. I, of course, am going to wait on Mo Spates. He's qualified, so we'll be able to match whatever he gets, or he'll end up accepting his qualifying. So, see you guys at the start of the third and final season. Last season was really fun. We won 67 games. We were absolutely dominant throughout the regular season, and then the playoffs came along, and we lost to the 8th seed Los Angeles Clippers in round 1. Now, this offseason, we decided to make a couple major moves, and we have upgraded this team. Now, unfortunately, Kyle Lowry really hasn't developed at all throughout this video. He's gotten up a few overall since year 1, but not really much there in the overall department. Now, the good news is his numbers are still pretty good, so as long as that holds, we should be in a good spot. Of course, added Andre Iguodala, he takes over and starting shooting guard spot, still got Luol Deng, brought in Chris Bosh, and still have Tyson Chandler. Bench unit sees Drew Holiday take over as 6-man. Funny enough, I know the minutes don't show it, but if I auto-set this rotation, it actually recommends I start Holiday over Lowry. Now, I'm not going to do that because, again, I think Lowry's numbers have been pretty good, and I don't think he's done anything that would, really force him to lose his starting spot. But If things go to shit, we may have to make a decision. Valanciunas, who's up to his 79, will be the backup behind Tyson Chandler. Of course, Mo Spates ended up accepting his qualifying offer, so he'll remain my backup power forward, brought in Jordan Crawford, and still have Courtney Lee here. So that's the team. Again, there's not really like a superstar player on this team, but there also wasn't last season, and we won 67 games. So I think there's a lot of possibilities with this team. I think the sky truly is the limit, and hopefully we get some playoff performances this time around. I'll see you guys at the end of year number 3. It is certainly not the first time I'm saying this in one of these LeBron era rebuilds, but this team was historically good. 76-6 good. And it is also not the first time I will say that there's not a fucking chance in hell this team would ever sniff 76 wins if they were a real team together on the floor. But that's 2K for you. Derrick Rose wins another MVP. Anthony Davis, Rookie of the Year. He's in Minnesota. Chris Kaman, now a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's your 6th man. DJ wins Depoy. You got Kemba Most Improved. I should get Kemba in one of these rebuilds. Some pretty good numbers. And Don Nelson winning another Coach of the Year. So it didn't matter last year that we were the 1 seed and clearly the best record in the NBA. Hopefully it helps this year, but we're going to find out together, man. Let's do this. Luol Deng, Chris Bosh looked like a very welcomed addition. Kyle Lowry played really, really well. So although the overall isn't moving and the field goal percentage isn't necessarily elite, 19 points, 4.5 boards, almost 9 assists a game. I'll take it. Andre Iguodala, Holiday, Valanciunas, Spates, Chandler, Crawford, and then Lee. In the rebounding department, we were led by Chandler and then Kyle Lowry dishing them out. Wow, Iggy was at 8.5 assists a game. That's really, really impressive. Two guys at 8+ assists a game in our backcourt. I'll take it. And oh boy, a familiar team here in round 1 in the Los Angeles Clippers. Quite honestly, I understand the Western Conference is loaded at this time, but this Clippers team feels like it's better than an 8 seed, at least on paper. So we are up 2-0. Last year we went down 2-0 immediately, and we sweep them this time around. So getting our lick back a little bit. Portland Trailblazers here. Just mentioned Kemba Walker, got Brandon Roy, Nick Batum, Marcus Aldridge, got Greg Oden, Derek Brown, Luke Babbitt. Oh my God. All right, Western Conference semifinals. Again, quick 2-0 lead. We have yet to lose a game. Every fucking time I say it, we lose a game. We are on to the Western Conference Finals. It is us and the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry is now a 96. I really got to try to... Oh, fuck off. This is actually kind of funny because I'm assuming many of you know that at one point in time, Kevin Love was almost a Warrior. There was almost a Klay Thompson for Kevin Love trade. It, of course, never happened, and in hindsight, it's actually for the best that it didn't. But, yeah, funny. All right, please don't let them beat me, man. Please. Split the first 2 at home, win game 3 at Oracle, win game 4 at Oracle. We close them out at home in 5 games, and it is the Miami Heat who, interesting. Okay, so who did we trade? Did we trade Scola there? I think we did. Did they maybe swing him in a deal for George Hill? Certainly a possibility. I mean, this, no disrespect to Louis Admonson or Costa Koufis, but, you know, that's a tough front court. Now, I understand LeBron and Dwayne Wade, clearly the 2 best players in this series, but we might be, as a whole, a better group. I do believe that. Up 3-0 at this point in time, looking to sweep the Miami Heat out of their own building. Hopefully we can go ahead and do that, cap this thing off with a championship. So just hold the lead. Don't make me have stressful gameplay today. I don't really need that right now. See you guys in there. Thankfully, we are going to be capping off our historic regular season with a championship. Of course, 76-6 throughout the regular season. And then, yeah, here in 2K, we are doing pretty well right now because we are about to sweep the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA Finals out of their own building. Dwayne Wade did he just airball a layup? Okay. Chris Bosh, of course, going against his former team, probably looking for a little bit of revenge for trading him. Can we? Okay. Nope. Dude, what are we doing? What are we doing? These CPU players run at such weird angles sometimes, and Luol Deng just got the easiest layup of his life. All right, I mean, I guess we can chat about the Rockets at this point in time. There's really not much to say. It was like nobody thought the Rockets were really contending for anything. It's so incredibly sad that this, you know, we started this video at the 2010-2011 season, and that was Yao Ming's final NBA season. The man played only 5 games and he was done. It was very, very immediate. And of course, Yao battled injury problems pretty much throughout the entirety of his relatively short NBA career. But, you know, man, I think about these teams and of course the trade that ended up in, you know, trading for an MVP in James Harden. It worked out pretty damn well. And obviously for Sam Presti and Oklahoma City, it's a move they regret. And pretty much the only real bad trade, I would say, of Sam Presti's tenure as GM of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, what was it? What were they, like $4 or $5 million off in AAV in terms of the contract that Harden wanted? Because I think he wanted the max and they didn't want to go up that high into the luxury tax. But, you know, does James Harden ever turn into an MVP if he stays in Houston or in Oklahoma City? Quite honestly, I doubt it, but I guess we'll truly never know. But I do think of, you know, what if that big 3 kind of stayed intact? They really could have ran the NBA for like 6, 8 years, something like that. But nonetheless, that's a what if. There are so many fun what ifs in the history of basketball. What is not a what if is the fact that we're going to be getting a championship here. So we're going to close this out here, man. Drive down the lane with Andre Iguodala. Good night. It took a historic regular season and then a somewhat easy playoff run, but we end this video with a championship. And Chris Bosh up against his former team. Look at those numbers that he put up in a sweep. We lose only 2 playoff games throughout this run. Ended up going 16-2. And yeah, I mean, again, on paper, this team is clearly good. There's no denying that. But, you know, this isn't Toronto Chris Bosh. There's no, like, superstar on this team. Andre Iguodala was never a superstar. Neither was Luol Deng. You can maybe make an argument for Lowry, especially in his prime in Toronto. But, you know, there's no superstar in this team. There's really not. But it's a group that fits really well together. It's a team that's obviously elite defensively. And I'm happy we were able to get that championship, man. Because, of course, Houston still looking for it, you know, in the 2000s. So that'll cap this one off, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Of course, let me know any other video ideas down below in the comment section. As I mentioned in the intro, we have about 10 of these LeBron era rebuilds left. We, of course, are going to continue to do the off-season rebuilds, the prospect rebuilds, and everything like that. But, you know, if there's anything that really jumps out at you that you're really looking to see before, of course, we get into the actual NBA offseason, let me hear it down below. But that'll do. I think this one was fun. So I fucked up my outro again. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.